Hello everybody, welcome back. Bit of a late start to the day. I got stuff to do, but tomorrow I'm going to have an attempt to actually put my videos back on. You know, my little picture of me in the corner. I've heard it's meant to be good for the channel. I used to do it all the time, but the background behind me just got too cluttered and full with rubbish. You know, with kids around. But now they're all back at school. We've all defeated the virus at our house. It's the first day since the beginning of Christmas that all the kids have actually been out of the house. So yeah, I've had a bit of tidying to do. Let's say that. The bloody virus. Right. Outside of the virus, what else is going wrong in the world? Bitcoin. Bitcoin's looking pretty droopy, but it's still, you know, in all fairness, still within that accumulation range, looking to retest those lows, right? So no massive big deal. We've already built a small base around here, which looks like we're kind of retesting at the moment. And if that breaks, then we've got our 40. Well, it's about 40. It's a rough 40,000-ish area, isn't it? From these wick lows, about 40,500 to about 40,000, 41,000. So still, this area is very much in keeping with the way that this chart looks like it wants to be played, which is basically not played at all. If you're hodling, should be fine. If you're looking to develop some other bot strategies, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to go into a few charts where bots might be the way to play this range, because if we are going to go sideways for Bitcoin, it does imply that other altcoins might go sideways and up, like some of these have already done, like ICP for instance, and XLM to an extent. So yeah, there is opportunity still within altcoins, even if it's just from some spot trading. But you've got to be gentle with the way that you apply your buys and your sells, because rallies at this current situation with Bitcoin being so, well, we'll just call it, what do you want to call it really? Sideways, disappointing, skeptical. There's a whole range of words in the English vocabulary that you could refer to Bitcoin at the moment. None of them are actually bullish, so that doesn't come into this chart right now. However, opportunity still remains, and the chart formation still remains. So let's have a look at some of these other things that we've been looking at on this channel. I wouldn't say recently, it's things we always look at. So first of all, the total market cap coming back down on the weekly to looking like it wants to revisit that 50 exponential moving average on the weekly, which is where we've had good reactions in the past, especially after that last big massive sell-off that we had in the summer last year, and prior to that, you know, it's always been a bit of a relevant area to mark extreme bullish moves and pretty bearish price action. You know, even the March crash basically hung around that level until it decided it couldn't take it anymore, and then when we finally reclaimed it, we basically never retested it until the dump. So it is a major component to me flipping to, I suppose, overall bearish to potentially bouncy area, which is what I'm looking for, because while being above it does offer every chance of it being bounced from it, like we have seen in the past. But it's a weekly, alright, and the weekly is obviously slow. We've still got 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence formed on the RSI on the weekly, so that's something to take home, right? That's not nothing. We didn't even have that when it led up to this bounce in the summer. So to me, to get 3 drives like that is a better situation than the one we had here, which is essentially people trying to establish a low, catch that low after what was a 56% dump. Currently, we're not quite that bad. And actually it's a little bit more of a consolidation vibe to it, to a 38% from the absolute tip to the bottom, so it's not as dramatic, even though people might feel that it is. I suppose because it's been consistently consolidating rather than a big dump, getting most of it out of the way, and then basically you know, the majority of the price action is kind of neither here nor there, but still scaring a lot of people out of their positions, and well, yeah, basically destroying people really, panic selling the bottom, which is something that you have to decide if you want to avoid any further losses, and you're prepared to see Bitcoin bounce while not having a position in it, and then maybe try to get back in on the price action. I think that sort of behaviour personally is a bit deadly at this stage. You know, if you've not managed to sell to, on the way up, which is basically the best way to do it, selling all the way up incrementally to make sure that you have available funds for situations like this. Like I say, you sell all the way up, or you sell on the way up, or when certain things get overheated. You can risk management like we did over here. We risk assessed the situation. We took some chips off the table. I mean, I've only had one buy since coming down to these low levels, and it was obviously here. This is all. Yeah, I'm not making this up. Obviously, you got to. People on the channel and the Telegram will verify that as the truth. We've had this buy order down here, and it's been bought, and currently that has marked the low so far. So that so far so good. And again, this is all analysis that's been put out there before it happened, and so this is the best way to trade. You trade with your rational mind. You don't trade on what you see, unfolding and the tweets that you read about bear markets this and bear markets that. You plan your trades ahead. You execute them, and if they work, then great. If they don't work, no big deal. But at the end of the day, that's the best way to trade. You trade with a rational head, okay? Make a plan. And the plan still remains, surprisingly. I know this is boring stuff, isn't it? Because we're talking dailies and weeklies. So, on a day-to-day basis, it's going to remain more or less the same until something changes. And what we really want to see change, what we need to see change, is at least the daily Bollinger Band getting flipped and turned to a support. At the moment, we can't even handle the 10 exponential getting rejected from that each time. So what we're looking really for is a bounce now, and a bounce with conviction, and not like these ones, which is good. This is a nice little bounce. Let's face it, it was a good bounce, more or less from my buy order, which was 40,600. So from there, yeah, managed at 10%. Not that I'm selling any of it. Like I say, I'm stocking up on Bitcoin for trading in the future against altcoins when they look extremely strong, and it makes some serious cash. So it's just buying back low is what I've been doing here. Not looking to scalp Bitcoin itself. But when it comes to altcoins, there are certain opportunities that have presented themselves that have been okay. They've been okay. Like the XLM one was okay. You got about 5. Well, it was about a 12% bounce from the video that I put out. But obviously getting sold straight off on the 200 exponential, which is no massive surprise, to be honest with you. But still holding up its chart structure of relatively bullish. But yeah, the breakdown of that resistance is no big deal. It is what it is. Took some profit, and again, it's trading versus Bitcoin. Same with ICP. ICP had a nice big run up, and now it's consolidating to, I suppose, a relatively acceptable level, given the fact that this is ICP we're talking about. It's still looking okay above the cloud, above most moving averages of significance. But yeah, it is getting closer to a do or die moment, really. Getting down towards the major level of support, about 650 sats. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about altcoins really. We just need to know about Bitcoin, and the same thing applies, which is we're looking for a bounce around here or a little lower around here, and we're looking for that bounce to take us towards the top of the accumulation center, not the absolute top, which is 49,500, but 46,500 would be fine. And at that stage we would have our moving averages start to curl up, and hopefully we could turn those to support and start to reclaim things over time. I'm not looking for any of this to take place immediately. A bounce could happen today. It could happen by the time this video gets uploaded, or it's probably already happened by the time you've seen it. Now, obviously, there's always going to be two sides to a story. The larger term timeframes do imply a bounce. A larger bounce with a hidden bullish divergence on the weekly there, on both the total market cap and on Bitcoin. But if we do break down, then fine, so be it. It's going to go down, but I wouldn't expect it to go down to a large, massive, enormous extent. When it comes to historical lows, we could be talking the upper 30,000s, maybe 36,000 at its lowest, and that would be basically do or die. And if it breaks down from there, then yeah, we can all sit down together, we can hold hands, we could cry together. But for the moment, the same thing applies to how we've explained it in the first place. A breakdown from here would establish a range between here and here and here. That's what we've got, that's where we are. So really, I shouldn't have to try and dress it up for anything more than it's been for this entire month, really, which is basically that. And with that, we can look to altcoins to either bot trade or do some small scalpy spot trades. But it's not the end of the world, not quite yet. Not quite yet. One last thing we'll briefly look at is the Dixie bouncing as expected, and the bounce has taken us to, I would say, a very decisive area. Now, in the next hour, we're going to have the American Open. So if we think about what this level looks like on a horizontal level, we've got ourselves a support or perhaps resistance. This was the breakdown zone. We've come all the way up to it. 50 exponential being tagged, coming up to that horizontal. Now this is a very important part for the Dixie, because if it breaks above here, which isn't unlikely, because remember we've been talking about the Dixie about how the fundamentals haven't changed. Yeah, there's nothing changed in this. The only difference was that report where the inflation was established at 7%, and then suddenly everybody said, right, well the dollar's dead then, fine, it's dead. But really, it's not dead. It's just the same as it was before the inflation report. It's no different. And so just like Bitcoin, it's going to establish, I think it's going to try to establish a range. For the moment, we do have to break out of this zone for it to then go back to where it was going, which was actually looking pretty good. But we haven't done that yet. We are at a horizontal, so this does specifically on the daily here, and I believe on the 4-hourly as well. There's moving averages of significance. There's the top of a Bollinger Band here, and we've also got the 200 exponential over here. So they're around pretty much where we are right now is where we'll be looking for a rejection in the very short term, and see if a range can be established at a high or a low from the area that it broke down from. So reclaiming there would be back to business. A rejection from here would imply a range formulate around the lower breakdown zone, and see where we go from there. Like I say, it's neither here nor there. Remember when we talk about these things that they kind of break charts, which is what happened with Bitcoin when the virus came out, and then said, look, let's take some chips off the table, let's be careful. It will break the chart and we'll have to establish a new range. So that's what happened, and that's what's happening here. I think that that's most likely to happen with the Dixie. I think a rejection around here would be normal, and will build a new base down at the lower levels, but we're definitely not going to break down from here, because nothing has changed. The fundamentals for the dollar is at the moment actually pretty bullish. They've been like that for a little while. I expect that they will be that for a little while longer, the majority of this year. But I still think the majority of this rally has finished, but it's not over, if that makes sense, which means that the pressure will be on for anything pegged against dollars. Right, I'm going to leave it with you there. I've got more cleaning to do. But I hope you have a nice day, and tomorrow I'll be on, and hopefully you'll see a little picture of my face in the corner with maybe some exciting scenery behind me, which that's what YouTubers do, isn't it? They have like a plant behind, maybe a lava lamp. I don't have any of those things. I've got a plant. I can stick a plant behind me. But yeah, I'm gonna bang one of those in the corner. You can see my face again. Hopefully, anyway, if I can get the lighting right. I've aged a lot since the last time you saw me, so I'll have to work on the lighting. Right. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.